Today we're talking to Jeremy Crane, who started his career running a power plant in Honduras and is now Chief Executive of a renewable energy investment fund in Canada. Welcome to Alumni Experience, Jeremy. So how do you get to be running a power plant in Honduras at the age of 25?
So I was a project manager building power facilities for a US-based company, an EPC company we call it in the power world, engineer, procure, construct. So I went down to, one of my assignments was to go to Honduras and build the facilities, the infrastructure for a power company. Main office, generating facility, distribution. And this was to replace some aging and somewhat out-of-date national infrastructure. It took about 4 months to get everything built and up and ready to run. During that time, the company we were building it for was supposed to be preparing for their operations. Well, when time came to turn everything on, they weren't prepared. And due to political pressure and some other issues, basically the general manager of this company was forced off the island we were on. So as was needed, somebody had to step in and fill the role. And I was there, and I knew how everything worked, and I had a large staff from construction, so it was pretty easy to just sort of switch hats, so to speak, or wear two hats for a little while.
What is it like to be responsible for running something like a power plant?
It was very stressful. It was also very rewarding. In a community that you were really transforming, it would come from a situation where they had power during the daylight, but not during the nighttime, and it was intermittent at that. It was a big transformation. So I became a sort of a very well-known person in the community there, and it was you lost all anonymity, and that I found that very difficult, certainly at that age.
So you came to INSEAD and then became a management consultant, but pretty soon you were looking for entrepreneurial opportunities.
Sure. So the first company that I founded as soon as leaving Bain was a company called Immediate Mobile, and our target was iPhone apps. This was 2009. The market was growing rapidly, and we thought we had some great ideas. Ultimately, I couldn't see, 3 or 4 months in, I couldn't see there being significant revenue, and I got a little bit bored and started looking at other things. This is when a friend approached me and told me that there was a new energy program coming into play in Ontario, and as soon as I looked at it, I knew it was a great fit for me.
Why did it seem like such a good fit for you, such a good opportunity?
To bring in a lot of the learning that I had at INSEAD about finance, and coupling the finance with my construction background, it was natural for me to say, hey, look, I can start a fund which is going to build renewable energy. I've got the energy and expertise. I can bring in that finance skills and build up those finance skills, and so I was very excited about that.
Enthusiasm for green energy has possibly cooled a bit because of the global economy. Do you still think renewables have a big future?
I believe very strongly that we're going to continue to have large investment in renewables, and there's going to continue to be a transformation. Germany has proven that we can have 20% of our power coming from renewables. In the US, we only have maybe 3 or 5%. So that's a massive investment to bring it over. And what's driving that is not, it has been driven by subsidies. It's now being driven by the consumers and simply market economics. We're now at the point that renewable energies are economic. We've been there for a decade with wind. Solar is reaching that point now. In the last 12 months, we've seen solar reach that point. Biofuels were able to produce ethanol cost effectively with gasoline. We have crossed that threshold and are able to produce these. There are still issues with storage of renewables, which means that there cannot be a high penetration of renewables into the mixture that we have in the grid. But I'm sure that will be solved in the next decade. There's a lot of really promising technologies out there. So we're going to be able to increase from 20 to to 40 to 60 over the next decade.
That's a huge transformation in the whole energy industry. What kind of people are going to be needed for that?
The human resources that are going to be needed to execute on this are vast across the whole spectrum, and it's going to turn the whole industry upside down. Energy, electrical generation particularly, has been a bunch of stodgy old guys who've done it for 4 decades. And that's changing. You go to a renewables conference, as opposed to being 2 ladies out of 1,000, you're now seeing a much greater diversity of people. Ethnically, across from around the world, we're seeing a globalization of the energy. And so the opportunities are vast, and they're finance, they're in construction, project management, all aspects of the spectrum.
What kinds of people really do well and thrive in the energy sector?
I think in general, energy is a relatively slow-moving industry. If you compare it to media, where you've got day-by-day deadlines, if you compare it to fashion, where you have 3-month design cycles, energy takes a long time. Developing a single project can take 12 to 24 months. So you definitely need to have a long view on things, and be relatively relatively risk tolerant. I think that the being able to wait 12 months to see if something's going to be successful breeds a certain amount of risk. Now, that's my perspective because I'm on the development side of things.
If you don't have an energy background, is it easy to move into the industry?
You know what? There's so many doors to get involved with energy. I've seen the industry building in Canada over the last couple of years, and specifically around solar. And I see people starting up energy associations and networking groups and training sessions. So everything from that to people who are starting up manufacturing facilities. So you can really follow your interest, and whatever you're passionate about, you're great to get involved with. Now, if you don't have any background, you've got to do a lot of reading. You've got to do some research. But I'd be surprised if somebody at INSEAD couldn't be up to speed on it in 3 weeks.